Okay, so this is lecture 5 of auditing concepts, okay, of company accounts and audit, and this is for CMA Intermediate June 2022 attempt. ठीक है, हमारे 4 lectures already हो चुके हैं, right? So I've already told you that regarding auditing in basics में मैंने बता दिया आपको, okay, that it is a small part for you. Audit is a small part about, ठीक है, 150 to 160 pages of your PDF. That's all. ठीक है, 150 to 160 pages of your PDF. That's your auditing. Okay. So whatever little bit of abridging and all will do. Okay. So this you can say just will get converted easily to, let us say, 100 to 120 pages. Okay. Between that, right? So it will be a short course that way, right? So four lectures are over. Now we are going to pick it up, auditing. Okay. So ठीक है, सबसे we will be having regularly some lectures you will be able to see. ठीक है, so चलो ठीक है, so हम चालू करते हैं. So I think I would be able to complete audit by June 15th. Okay, June 15th तक के आपका पूरा हो जाएगा. So you can see what I am suggesting is, अभी तो 4 lectures हुए हैं, this is the 5th one, correct? So just stay with me in auditing. तो आप इसके साथ साथ ही आपकी पढ़ाई भी हो जाएगी, revision will also happen along with it. ठीक है, मेरा as now I post videos especially in auditing, just stay with me. ठीक है, so by 15th June आपका भी कोर्स अच्छी तरह से हो जाएगा. Okay, so I'm going to explain the whole part in detail, as it is like whatever chapters, whatever we have done, everything is in detail as per study material. Okay, there is no shortcut procedure. ठीक है, so just be with me. तो आपका ये 15 जून तक के whole auditing will be 100% complete, बहुत अच्छी तरह हो जाएगा. So if you do it as per the videos and notes, ठीक है, if you do it accordingly, you can easily score up to 35 to 40 in auditing. Okay, ये काफी स्कोरिंग है, 35 to 40 you can score in auditing. ठीक है, इसलिए आप इसको मेरे साथ साथ आप कंटिन्यू करो. ओके, जस्ट डू इट अलोंग विथ मी. whenever I post videos, just complete it the same day now. ठीक है, ओके, ठीक है. सो जो फर्स्ट 4 lectures को आप रिवाइज कर लेना अगेन. ठीक है, just revise the first 4 lectures. So now we'll continue with objectives of audit. So as such, यहाँ से आप देख सकते हो, even if you've not seen the first 4, you can see from here because these are all self-explanatory. It will not draw from your earlier lectures. Okay, so you can kind of see this यहीं से. ठीक है, so there's no problem regarding that. चलो ठीक है, so objectives of audit हम कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, and objectives of audit has been stated in essay 200. ठीक है, so you've got standards of auditing. so मैंने जैसे आपको बोला था, I'll show you the standards. ठीक है, so here you can see all the standards of auditing. ठीक है, so this is SQC 1. it is for quality controls for the firm which is doing audit. ठीक है, quality control for the firm which is going to do audit. ठीक है, and from 200 onwards, you know, the real essays start. ठीक है, so 200 is overall objectives of the independent auditor. ठीक है, so this also gives the objective, scope and all that is essay 200. ठीक है, so then you have got all these things एक करके. ठीक है, in between जैसे मैंने बोला था आपको, I'll थोड़ा थोड़ा करके मैं बताऊंगा, so you will be able to remember most of this. ठीक है, so just remember that it starts from essay 200. okay, which is overall objectives of the independent auditor and the conduct of an audit in accordance with essays. ठीक है, इसको short में basic principles governing an audit भी बोला जाता है. okay, essay 200 is also called as basic principles governing and audit. ठीक है, okay, right. so फिर ये इसके बाद वाले जो है मैं थोड़े से आपको I'll just tell you. so it starts from 200. then normally, you know, it will be, there will be a difference of either 10 or 5. ठीक है, that's how you will get it. ठीक है, next is 210. so agreeing the term of audit एंगेजमेंट। सो ठीक है, इसको कैसे याद रखना है मैं आपको बताऊंगा। ओके, 220 is quality control for audit of financial statements. ठीक है, this is quite important. ऐसे 220 and 230 is audit documentation. ठीक है, and 240 and 250. 240 is auditor's responsibility relating to fraud in an audit of financial statements. ठीक है, और 250 है consideration of laws and regulations in audit of financial statements. ठीक है, तो इसको आपको इतना मैं बताता हूँ, हाउ टू जस्ट रिमेंबर दिस, हम बिट बाय बिट वी विल सी दिस। तो आपको ये भी याद रहेगा। ओके, यू विल बी एबल टू रिमेंबर दिस, इट विल जस्ट हेल्प यू इन यू नो सम क्वेश्चंस वगैरह, आपको हेल्प करेगा, स्पेशली इन सम ऑब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चंस जो है ना, ये थोड़ा हेल्प करेगा आपको। जस्ट इवन नो द टाइटल ऑफ दिस। ओके, ठीक है, सो यहाँ मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ। so SQC1 क्या है? इट इज क्वालिटी कंट्रोल फॉर अ फर्म विच इज डूइंग ऑडिट। ठीक है, ये तो ये अलग हो गया, दिस इज सीन एज डिफरेंट। ठीक है, देन ऐसे 200 ऑनवर्ड्स टिल हियर मैं बताता हूँ आपको। ठीक है, इट्स ऑल 200, 210, 220, 30, 240, 50, 60। ठीक है, 10 10 10 पढ़ रहा है। ओके, टिल हियर। सो यहाँ पे जो है, so ये कैसे है? ठीक है, सो ये इसको कैसे आपको याद रखना है? ठीक है, जैसे मेमोरी टेक्निक जो है वो बता रहा हूं मैं। हियर ओवरऑल ऑब्जेक्टिव्स ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंट ऑडिटर। ठीक है, सो ओके, सो यहाँ पे ओवरऑल सी द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, दैट इज आपको काम क्या करना है। सी द ओवरऑल ऑब्जेक्टिव्स एंड देन ओनली यू एग्री टू द टर्म्स ऑफ एंगेजमेंट। ठीक है, एंड यहाँ पे आई एम जस्ट कनेक्टिंग इट। सी द ओवरऑल, सी द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, ऑब्जेक्टिव्स देख के आपसे होता है, देन यू एग्री टू द टर्म्स ऑफ ऑडिट एंगेजमेंट। सी द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स एंड देन एग्री। ठीक है, व्हाई? ओनली देन द क्वालिटी विल बी गुड। If you have seen the objectives and you feel you will be able to do, only then the quality will be good. That will be okay, quality control. ठीक है, so quality has to be good because you have to document it. Next जो है आपका जो है क्वालिटी जो है, जैसे क्वालिटी कम ज्यादा भी हो तो चलता है, ऐसा नहीं, क्वालिटी हैज टू बी गुड। ठीक है, बिकॉज यू हैव टू डॉक्यूमेंट द होल थिंग। ठीक है, so the quality is not good if you document it. ठीक है, you will be found out कि कहाँ गलती है करके। ठीक है, so that's why quality has to be good because it has to be documented. ठीक है, so अब now once you have done this, ठीक है, so on when you are documenting everything, अब auditor खुद ही सब कुछ काम नहीं करता। okay, he doesn't himself do the many things which his team does, correct? So when he goes through the documentation, ठीक है, in detail, तब क्या होता है, कई बार he is able to detect fraud. ठीक है, wherever there is fraud or where there is no fraud as such but they have not followed the laws and regulations. ठीक है, on seeing the documentation he is able to detect fraud, that is if there is fraud and if they have not followed the laws and regulations. ठीक है, the management. ओके, और ये होता है अगर once he finds out that there is fraud and that laws and regulations have not been observed, then he has to speak to those charged with governance. ठीक है, speak to those charged with governance. ये 260. Next is 265. ठीक है, this one is not in 10. So 260 and 265 related है दोनों। okay, both are related. So he has to communicate with those charged with governance, and during communication he will also tell why these frauds were not detected earlier, because there were deficiencies in internal control. So he'll communicate it with those charged with governance and management. यहाँ बोल रहा है governance, यहाँ बोल रहा है governance and management. ठीक, that's what is it. ठीक है, so words used है but it's more or less same. In both cases you are going to communicate with the same set of people. ठीक है, but these are the words used. okay, एक और बता देता हूँ। ठीक है, 299 is the last in the 200s. ठीक है, 200 से हमने स्टार्ट किया था, but started with 200. 299 is the last year. okay, तो यहाँ पे हमने क्या चीज देखा आपने? 260 and 265. ठीक है। इन 260 कम्युनिकेशन विद दोज चार्ज विद गवर्नेंस, कम्युनिकेशन विद दोज चार्ज विद गवर्नेंस एंड मैनेजमेंट, ठीक है। तो इसमें जो ये 260 एंड 265 दीज आर लाइक जॉइंट, ठीक है, दोनों साथ में है, रिलेटेड एज आई सेड, ओके। सो ये साथ में है, इसको लेके आप ये जॉइंट वर्ड यू कैन रिमेंबर, ठीक है। दोज चार्ज विद गवर्नेंस, दोज चार्ज विद गवर्नेंस एंड मैनेजमेंट, ठीक है। सो इससे both are related, that is joint, something like that you can remember. So responsibilities of joint auditors, ठीक है। So this is how, मैंने आपको ये बता दिया यहाँ से, okay, basically from here 5 6 7 8 9, ठीक है, this 9 total 9 है। This is how you can remember it. तब इतना आप याद कर लो, आगे का भी मैं बताऊंगा, short 4 5 I'll tell you, so you will be able to remember it. This is how I had remembered it, so that's what I am telling you, ठीक है। So ये this is your auditing standards. Similarly आपको you will have to know some other standards. This is accounting standards, ठीक है, हमारे general, these are general accounting standards, ठीक है। And these are your international accounting standards, IAS, ठीक है। So IAS में पूरा पूरा मालूम रहे जरूरी नहीं है हमको, ओके, इट्स ओनली सम इफ यू नो सर्टेन थिंग्स रिलेटेड, जैसे कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट्स, जैसे यहाँ पे है कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट इज AS3, so in IAS it is IAS7. Some of this, if you know some of these, that is enough in IAS, okay, ठीक है। So this AS, और आपको IND AS is also what you should know, ठीक है। IND AS का लिस्ट भी मैं डाल दूंगा next to this AS, okay, I'll give you list of IND AS also, ठीक है। So this accounting standards you should know definitely, ठीक है, कौन सा है, right? If you know, it's good. So as such, for your auditing paper you don't require this, ठीक है। For auditing paper, if you know this, it is more than enough, ठीक है। चलो, so now we are going back here. So objectives of auditing, ठीक है। So it's divided into two parts. One is what the SA says, SA 200 standards of auditing, ठीक है। So it says that in an audit of financial statements, overall objectives of the auditor are, ठीक है। So overall objectives क्या है, ठीक है। First he says to obtain reasonable assurance. Assurance का मतलब बोलते हैं I assure you that nothing will go wrong, ठीक है। Okay, so I am convincing you that nothing will go wrong. उसको in English we say I assure you, ठीक है, ठीक है। So that means to obtain reasonable assurance, that is he has to be sure that the financial statements are free from material misstatement. Material misstatement means anything wrong in it, okay, which might cause a major deviance. That's why it is called as material misstatement, okay. So as objectives of auditing as per SA 200 is, okay, audit overall objectives are obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. It can be caused due to fraud or error. This misstatement can be caused due to fraud or error, okay. He has to just be sure that financial statements are free from material misstatement, ठीक है, okay, क्यों, why, ठीक है। So when he expresses in his opinion, okay, he can say that financial statements are prepared in all material respects, ठीक है, all main things, ठीक है। Financial statements are prepared in all main things as per applicable financial reporting framework, ठीक है। वो बोल सकेगा कि फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स आर प्रिपेयर्ड इन ऑल मटेरियल रिस्पेक्ट्स एज पर एप्लीकेबल फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क। तो क्या है एप्लीकेशन फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क, एप्लीकेबल फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क, इट्स कॉल्ड एज गैप, करेक्ट, जनरली एक्सेप्टेड अकाउंटिंग प्रिंसिपल्स, ठीक है। तो गैप में क्या क्या आता है, इन गैप ऑल योर AS कम्स, ठीक है। गैप इज अ कंट्री, व्हाटएवर इज द सेट of accounting principles a country follows, ठीक है। So first what comes is your AS and IND AS, okay, this will come in it, ठीक है। Your accounting concept conventions, correct, principles, ठीक है, principles, all these things will come, ठीक है। So ये सब मिला के गैप बनता है, तो all rules which are followed in a country, ठीक है, so mainly headed by the accounting standards, ठीक है। So this is your gap. So if he finds out that financial statements are free from material misstatement, then he can report that financial statements have been prepared as per financial reporting framework, ठीक है, applicable financial reporting framework. You can also use the word gap for applicable financial reporting framework, ठीक है। So दूसरा क्या है? To report on the financial statements and communicate as required by the SAs, ठीक है। So you will have to prepare an audit report in the end, and you have to report on the financial statements and communicate on the financial statements as required by various SAs, ठीक है। So this is objective from point of view of SA 200, ठीक है। Okay, so now, ठीक है, objectives of auditing explained from a general or broader perspective, ठीक है। ये आपको मेन लिखना है if anything comes about objectives. If you can write 2 sentences on this, इतना लंबा लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, but you can, if you can write 2 sentences as stating as per SA 200, ठीक है, तो weight पड़ता है ज्यादा, okay, right? So this also you should say, and then objectives of audit, this is the main answer, ठीक है। So there are 2 objectives, primary and secondary, ठीक है। So in auditing you will have 2 objectives, one is called as primary objective, ठीक है, second is called the secondary objective. So primary objective जो है ऑडिटिंग का, ये आप अच्छे से समझ लो, ये आपको कई जगह लिखना पड़ सकता है, you might have to use this in many places. Financial statements presents a true and fair view of the state of affairs of the concern, ठीक है। What is the primary objective? To make sure that the financial statements presents a true and fair view of the state of affairs of the concern, ठीक है। तो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में क्या क्या मेन इज बैलेंस शीट एंड P&L, कैश फ्लो वगैरह भी आ जाता है कभी कभी, ठीक है। सो बट मेन थिंग इज योर balance sheet and P&L, correct? So balance sheet is a position statement, correct? The balance sheet on the last day of the financial year, okay, that is at the end of a particular date. Balance sheet should say that the financial position on this date, okay, shown by the balance sheet is correct, okay, ये हो गया। और and profit and loss account doesn't show it for a particular date, correct? It shows for a period, है ना, पूरे साल का, whole year's data is there in the profit and loss account, okay। So its profit and account loss shows the, ठीक है, shows a true and fair view of the financial performance, ठीक है। दो चीजें हम यहाँ पे आपको यूज करना है, one, financial statement presented true and fair view, then again balance sheet shows the true and fair view of the financial position, and P&L accounts show a true and fair view of the financial performance, ठीक है। These 2 things you have to write, okay। So section 143 of the Companies Act, ठीक है, इसमें it is a very small part, ठीक है, audit is a small part, so if you can remember some sections and all, just थोड़ा weight पड़ेगा आंसर में, और कुछ नहीं, ठीक है। Even if you don't write, that is it's not a big deal, but if you can quote some sections and all, thoda bahut, okay, something if you can quote, then your answers will have some weight, okay। So section 143 of the Companies Act requires the auditor to state in his opinion that the financial statements presents a true and fair view of the state of company's affairs at the end of the financial year and of the profit and loss of its financial year, ठीक है, right? So इसी को you can, इसको आप divide करके आप लिख सकते हो that the balance sheet shows, okay, true and fair view of the state of affairs, ठीक है, of the concern at the end of its financial years, and the profit and loss account shows a true and fair view of the financial performance for the financial year, ठीक है। So when ये ऐसा ओपिनियन मिल जाता है ना, once the auditor reports like this, ठीक है, it increases the reliability and credibility of the company's financial statements. ठीक है, so this is the primary objective of auditing. ठीक है, to see whether the financial statements present a true and fair view. This is the primary objective. ठीक है, secondary objective is detecting errors and frauds. ठीक है, so secondary objective is what? Detecting errors and frauds in the books of accounts and financial records. ठीक है, so primary responsibility, see, okay, so second, the errors and frauds is not the main responsibility. ठीक है, it is the secondary or also called as incidental responsibility. ठीक है, first is true and fair view. So now, अच्छा, बिजनेस के एसेट्स को सेफगार्ड करने की मेन रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी किसकी रहती है? मैनेजमेंट की, राइट? ऑडिटर की जिम्मेदारी नहीं है, राइट? सो द मेन रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फॉर सेफगार्डिंग बिजनेस एसेट्स, ओके, इज दैट ऑफ द मैनेजमेंट, नॉट ऑफ द ऑडिटर. ठीक है, सो ऑडिटर विल डू हिज नॉर्मल ऑडिटिंग, एंड इफ इन द कोर्स ऑफ इट he suspects some misstatements or defalcations in the records. In the records, he feels that no, there is something is wrong. Okay, then he will look with detail by applying various audit procedures. Okay, okay, and then he will satisfy himself whether they exist or do not. What misstatements, defalcations, whether it is there or not, then he will, if he has to get something by which he can suspect that no, there is some problem here, then he will go in greater detail and test it. Okay, so then he will also report the existence of such misstatement and their magnitude through his audit report. Okay, so basically ये पूरा point क्या है? Detecting errors and fraud in the books of accounts and financial records. It is the secondary objective. So when he's coming to audit, he is not coming to find errors and fraud. He wants to see overall the financial statements is reflecting true and fair view. ठीक है, ये भी नहीं बोला जा रहा है कि हम क्यों बोल रहे हैं, earlier we had said in all material respects. Okay, इसका मतलब ये है कि suppose this is your company, ठीक है, this is your company, ठीक है, so financial statements, ठीक है, जो है आपका 99.6%, ठीक है, एवरीथिंग इज करेक्ट. ठीक है, हाँ, छोटे मोटे गड़बड़ हो रहे हैं 0.4%. ठीक है, लिटिल बिट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम इज देयर से इन द स्टोर्स में कुछ स्टोर कीपर थोड़ा उड़ा रहा है, चोरी कर रहा है, व्हाटएवर. ओके, द स्टोर कीपर, ठीक है, is involved in some defalcations. ठीक है, but it is to the extent of 0.4%. So here, but auditor can say that in all material respects, you think overall everything is correct. So balance sheet, P&L, everything is correct. ये तो बहुत ही छोटा part है, right? So for this much, he doesn't need to say that the balance sheet is not giving a true and fair. ठीक है, that's why it is said that he'll report that in all material respects. ठीक है, समझ में आ गया ना? In all material respects, things are correct, things are good. Okay, चलो. Okay, so ये हो गया primary and secondary objectives. ठीक है, this is we have gone through objectives of auditing. Then ठीक है, अब देखेंगे basic principles governing an audit. SA 200 is also called as basic principles governing an audit. ठीक है, so apart from the objectives and all, it also shows the basic principles that should govern an auditor, an audit, and an auditor's responsibilities. Okay, so basic principles that govern the auditor's responsibilities are, ठीक है, ये important question है ये भी. Okay, it's an important one. One is integrity, objectivity, and independence. ठीक है, so auditor should have integrity, means he should be an honest man. Okay, so he should not be someone who can be bribed or anything. He will do his work come what may. That is integrity. Objectivity is when he compares two things, he will very quickly come to know if there is any problem in it. ठीक है, is a sharp person, that is, so integrity, objectivity and independence. ठीक है, is one. Confidentiality, so this should be one quality, that he should not disclose client's information to anyone without the client's permission, or where any law requires him to disclose, then he can disclose, otherwise not. ठीक है, इस चाय पीने गए और वहाँ डिस्कस करना चालू कर दिए क्लाइंट को, okay, just went to a canteen to have tea, there he started discussing, okay, so that should not happen. So you should keep the client's information confidential. ठीक है, third is skills and competence. Skills and competence regarding his work. ठीक है, he should be competent in his work. So auditing, is a basically you should be a chartered accountant to do auditing. ठीक है, that itself is a tough course, and then on that also you should be very skillful in your work. ठीक है, you should know where to see. ठीक है, when you are going for auditing such a big company, to be honest, nobody can see all the transactions. It's humanly impossible. Okay, you should have the skills to really find out what are the material things what you should check. Okay, ठीक है, तो एज एक डॉक्टर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से अगर आप देखेंगे, ठीक है, तो say if you go to the doctor and you complain about something, ठीक है, he will ask you a couple of other questions, ठीक है, and based on that he will understand what is the cause of that pain in some other area, right? So that is called skills and competence of a particular field. This example is for doctors, but similarly for auditors, skills and competence are very important. ठीक है, work performed by others. ठीक है, so now as we know, auditor खुद ही सब कुछ नहीं कर सकता, right? He will have a team, so he should carefully supervise work performed by others. ठीक है, others में who will come? His subordinates, some other auditors also. Some part of the work might be with others, or the previous audit might have been conducted by other auditors. ठीक है, experts. So in certain cases legally he might need an opinion whether this is correct or not, so he might have to consult some solicitor. ठीक है, right? वो सब जो है, so he has to carefully supervise work performed by others. ठीक है, but he remains responsible for the work delegated to him. ठीक है, overall for his reporting he himself remains responsible. ठीक है, so ये है, so he should supervise the work performed by others, क्योंकि in the end he is responsible. Okay, ठीक है ना, right? So then documentation, maintain proper working papers. So audit working papers जो है, auditing रोज जो हो रहा है, everything in detail is recorded in that. It's called audit working papers. ठीक है, so it is evidence also for audit work. ठीक है, so maintain documentation. Planning, so this comes much before. So obtain knowledge of client's business. ठीक है, to determine the nature, timing and extent of audit procedures. ठीक है, so first see how is the business set. ठीक है, only then he can determine when to audit and what are the procedures, right? So say if a client is working in the morning hours, right, like 7 to let us say 4 or 5, so he will do more of the audit work in the evening, correct? If the client starts work from say 2 or 3 o'clock and works till say 12, 1 o'clock, suppose, so then he'll try to work in the morning, right? So, and based on whether he is auditing a bank or a supermarket, the procedures of auditing will be different. Okay, similarly, he'll have to plan that all. ठीक है, then audit evidence. ठीक है, he has to obtain evidence. Evidence को audit में बोलते हैं sufficient appropriate audit evidence. ठीक है, sufficient means the evidence should be sufficient to prove his point. ठीक है, appropriate means it should be the right kind of evidence. ठीक है, that's why audit में evidence के साथ ये बोला जाता है, what is said is sufficient appropriate audit evidence. ठीक है, और इसको जो है he has to do it by performing compliance and substantive procedures. ठीक है, इसके बारे में we will see later. ठीक है, so थोड़ा बहुत आपको है कि what is what are compliance procedures, what is substantive procedures. ठीक है. So audit evidence में obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence through performing compliance and substantive procedures. ठीक है. So इस point में क्या बोलना है? He has to obtain audit evidence, because tomorrow if a question is asked, he has to show that this happened, this is why I took this decision. Okay. 8 है accounting system and internal controls. ठीक है. He has to get an understanding of accounting system and internal controls as it helps in determining the nature, timing and extent of audit procedures. ठीक है. Okay. So जैसे मैंने आपको in previous lectures I told you, internal control means control is set in such a way that if you have, if a transaction goes through one person here, ठीक है, this transaction, okay, it is going through here to the second person, okay, and from the second person, say it goes to the third person, ठीक है, and from here it goes to the fourth person, to fifth person, ठीक है, or finally it goes here to the last person here, ठीक है. So proper internal control means if this person realizes that he has made some mistake, ठीक है, he is realizing that he is making some mistake, he should not be able to go here, go either here, should not be able to go here or here and get it corrected. He should not have access to the whole chain. That is a good internal control. Okay? If internal control is good, then auditor knows that internally chances of manipulation data is very less. Then he can trust it more. Okay. Okay. Chalo, then accounting system and internal controls, then audit conclusions and reporting. This is the last thing in auditing. So on the basis of conclusions drawn from audit evidence, okay, so he will draw conclusions. He can give either an unqualified report or qualified report or adverse report or disclaimer of opinion. Okay. So we had discussed regarding these 4 types of reports already. Okay. आपको बताया था मैंने. ठीक है. So qualifying means you are saying that you have not you are saying that except this one part that you were not able to check. Let us say that it's a very busy environment, okay, where you are auditing. There are certain things, for some reason there was some person on leave or this, you are not able to check that. So you want to say that except that area, all other things are fine. That is called a qualified report. Okay. Okay. And so unqualified report is the best report. Perfect. Everything is fine. If you say that is unqualified. Adverse report is you are not happy. Okay. And disclaimer. Okay. Disclaimer and your qualified report, they're close. But in disclaimer of opinion, what you say is you are not able to form an opinion. Okay. You are not able to say whether it is good. You are not able to say whether it is bad. That's called disclaimer of opinion. Okay. Okay. So these are audit conclusions and reporting. So ये points है, ये points आपको याद रखने, ठीक है? So just see how, okay, you can remember these points. So main points, just if you remember, easily you can write the contents internally. Okay? ठीक है? So चलिए, अब next point में आते हैं. We'll see the significance of audit. Significance of audit, ठीक है? When the manager reports to owners, ठीक है? अब significance को we'll see from 2-3 point of views, ठीक है? Significance यानी audit का क्या importance है, ठीक है? That comes under significance of audit, ठीक है? So why is audit so important? That we will see from 2-3 point of views, ठीक है? So the main point here is if the manager reports to the owners, ठीक है? Directly. So the report may contain errors. It can have errors. It cannot disclose for frauds, be inadvertently misleading. Okay? So inadvertently, and he did not want it to be misleading, but it is misleading. Or fourth is deliberately misleading, so fraud case. Failed to disclose relevant information, failed to conform to regulations. All these things can happen when a manager reports to auditors without the accounts being checked by an independent professional. If an independent professional checks it, ठीक है, before it is reported to the owners, then ये सारी चीजें जो है ना, he will be able to highlight whatever is not correct to the owners. Otherwise, owners will not be able to decipher what is wrong here. जो गलतियां लिखी गई है, ओनर्स को समझ में भी नहीं आएगा कहाँ क्या गलती है, क्या छुपाया है, what he has hidden, what is showing nothing. They will be able to find out. So when an independent professional who is an expert in that field, he checks this, okay, and then he reports to the owners, they will really be able to make sense out of the report. Okay, ठीक है. So this is the significance of audit. तो ये सब जो हम बताए हैं यहाँ पे. So these problems can be there if a manager directly reports to owners. ठीक है. So इसीलिए an independent person called auditor, ठीक है, he is appointed to check the accounts. ठीक है. जैसे this one example is multinational accounts. It's very complex. ठीक है. You have to bring together everything, summarize various countries, various regions and all that. ठीक है. All have different conventions, legal systems. ठीक है. So it can be very, very complex. So audit of such accounts by independent experts is beneficial to those who control and operate them, as well as to owners and outsiders. So audit is useful to all of them, because even the managers will not be knowing the laws of various countries and all that. Okay, accounting procedures and all that. So when an independent expert comes and does the work, it helps everyone. Okay, all parties involved. So many financial statements must conform to statutory and other requirements. Okay, laws of the country has to be adhered to. Okay, like company accounts have to conform to Companies Act. Okay, so otherwise Indian accounts have to follow IAS, Ind AS, sorry. Okay, Ind AS they have to follow, right? And so okay, so audit should be carried out again to make sure that these requirements have been conformed to. Okay, तो यही है. तो इसमें बस लिखना आपको अपने वर्ड्स में है. ठीक है, इसमें कुछ भी जैसे खास नहीं है. जस्ट मेक श्योर ये बताना है कि just write the above points and say that hence an independent person must audit. Then you can just say that certain entities accounts are very, very complex. Okay, and an independent expert is needed. Okay, and lastly you can just say that financial statements must conform to the law, okay, and the other accounting requirements of the country. Okay, so if audit is carried out, they can check whether they conform to these requirements. ठीक है, ये सब चीज में आपको मेन पॉइंट पकड़ना है. ठीक है, ऑडिटिंग में always you have to catch hold of the main points and you should write accordingly. ठीक है. So now same significance of audit, ठीक है, from certain point of view we'll see. ठीक है, significant from an legal point of view. Okay, legally filing of income tax return. ठीक है, income tax authorities will easily accept the profit and loss account if it is audited. ठीक है, it is audited by a qualified auditor. Helps in filing of income tax return, borrowing of money. For borrowing before lending, if anyone will see your audited balance sheet. If you have an audited balance sheet with good remarks, you can easily get loan. Insurance claim. So for insurance claim also, if you have a previous audited statement, then it's easy to settle accounts with the insurance companies. Okay. And sales tax payments. Okay. So these also, you can talk about. These are basically, you can say GST payments. Okay, in this place now. So सब पुराना ही सब रह गया जैसे ये सब. ठीक है. So now you will talk about say GST payments. Correct. So right. So audited books of accounts may generally be accepted by GST authorities. Okay, right? So an action against bankruptcy. Okay, if you have gone bankrupt, okay, then and there are some audited accounts with you before, okay, they can be used to determine action in bankruptcy and insolvency cases. So based on that accounts, even they can find out who are the debtors, who are the creditors, and all that based on your audited accounts. Okay, so uh, they get some good way to proceed. Okay, if you have an audited accounts. So ये सब है legally जो है आपको, these are the cases where audit is significant. ठीक है, from a legal point of view. Okay, ये हो गया. ठीक है, from an internal control point of view, ठीक है, significance of audit is क्या रहेगा? सबसे पहले क्विक डिस्कवरी ऑफ एरर्स एंड फ्रॉड्स. ठीक है, एरर्स एंड फ्रॉड्स कैन बी डिस्कवर्ड. Okay, moral check on employees. Employees know that audit is being carried out. Anything, if they do any fraud or something, then it will be caught. Okay, so there is a moral check. Then management gets advice. This is also important, which is not seen normally. Okay, we only focus on errors, frauds, these things, but this is also very, very important because auditors audit many such companies, so they also have a treasure of knowledge. Okay, so management may consult the auditor to seek advice on certain technical points. Okay, though it's not the duty of auditor to give advice, but he is a very senior person and knows a lot about such companies, so his advice can be very fruitful. Okay, to the management. Uniformity in accounts. Okay, so if the accounts have been prepared on uniform basis, okay, and accounts of 1 year can be compared with other years. Okay, and discrepancy can be inquired into. So ये भी है that from an internal control point of view, your previous statement you can compare with the current statement. Okay, based on that you will get some area to investigate if there is one. Okay, so this is from the internal control point of view. Chalo, so here I will close, I'll end the class. ठीक है, यहाँ चलो ठीक है, इतना एक कर देते हैं. Okay, from external affairs point of view, and then we'll start with the advantages of audit. ठीक है, so from an external affairs point of view, ठीक है, from an external point of view, why is audit important? Settlement of accounts of a deceased partner becomes easy. Deceased means dead. ठीक है, partner who is dead is to settle accounts in any case. Okay, not just dead partner or admission of a partner, anything, all these things becomes easy. Okay, or right, okay, all these things. Okay, if you have an audited account, you know that this is the position. Based on that you can negotiate further. Okay, retirement of partner, all those things becomes easy. Valuation of assets and goodwill. Okay, so if you want to value your assets and what is your goodwill and all that, this can be done easily if you have a previously audited statement. Okay, audited statement of an independent auditor. Based on that, they can easily value assets and goodwill. Okay, because that can be the starting point for them. Future trends of business. Okay, you can assess the future trend with certainty from the audited accounts. Okay, so some analysis and all can be done. Okay, this is from external point of view. Chalo, okay. So next will be advantages of audit. We'll continue here. Okay, so we'll continue from advantages of audit, right? Okay then.